Hello, and welcome back to the Spoilercast, the show where we talk about movies and don't care about spoiling them.
Your name?
Today, alright, my name is Tobias, as always, and with me, as always, is my sister and trusted co-host, Rebecca.
Hello.
Hello. And today we're going to talk about one of the more discussed movies of late. Not so much for the contents of the movie, but for the surrounding drama.
Yeah.
But as we just said before we started the recording here, neither of us know too much about the drama. You know a little bit. I barely know anything.
Yeah.
So don't expect us to have like a tea sesh here.
No. This is a movie podcast, not a
Exactly.
spill whatever tea whatever podcast. No.
Yeah.
We went to see the movie for the movie, not for the drama surrounding it.
Exactly. Even though when I read some reviews on Letterboxd, like half of them were all about,
Oh yeah.
this person and that person, and I'm like, but that's not the movie, though.
Someone wrote like, people are gonna go hate watch this just because of Olivia Wilde. I'm like, huh? Okay.
Yeah. However, since we have a Patreon called patreon.com/don'tmakeascene, where we're going to do a companion episode to this, which we always do every week.
Yes.
There is a exclusive Patreon episode. And we might discuss more of the drama there, because, it's still fun to gossip a little bit,
We'll look into it and see if it's exciting to talk about.
Exactly. We're also going to talk about,
also talking about a movie.
companion movie to this. So check us out on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. But let's get into it now, because today we're talking about Don't Worry, Darling.
Yes. And as this is a pretty brand new movie, we'll try to keep the first half spoiler free.
Yeah. So, let's get into it.
How about we start with you today? What did you think of it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I thought it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Just my initial thoughts. Cool concept.
Sure.
A concept we have seen before in various forms.
Yes.
And an interesting concept, talking about moving forward in the future. In real life, I mean, it's one of those sci-fi scenarios where you're like, yeah, this might be something we should actually discuss. But it's completely, squabbled away for, repeating scenes of,
domestic bliss, I suppose.
Yeah, or, feminist paranoia.
Oh, yeah.
The third wave, screechy feminist paranoia.
Yes.
The kind that doesn't actually want to make things better, they just want to be angry.
The ones who don't want equality, they want to have their moment in the sun, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
The militant feminists, I used to call them.
Exactly. Yes.
Because everyone knows what Don't Worry, Darling is. It's it's the 1950s housewife living perfect utopia, whatever, with the husbands who have this secret job, but they don't need to care because they have a perfect life.
They don't need to worry, darling.
Exactly.
But then, stuff starts to happen, and Florence Pugh starts suspecting that everything isn't as it seems to be.
Yes, something's wrong, probably.
I gotta say, I like that about the trailer, that it didn't give away anything, basically.
Yes.
But, since it's a concept we've seen so many times, it's just like, yeah, we kind of get it. I didn't fully get it.
No, me neither.
And we shouldn't talk about the companion movie, because that's going to be a big spoiler.
Yeah, we'll avoid that. I want to talk about one tiny detail that I don't know if it was deliberate or if they just chose a name on random, but calling the main character Alice felt like a bit of a hint,
Yeah, because she's kind of going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, sure. And she's kind of falling into, the other world.
Wonderland.
Wonderland.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I don't know if Jack is like Jack and the Beanstalk. Stalk. I don't know. It just felt like something because he's striving to achieve something he can't really have. Might be stretching it. But Alice feels like a hint.
Yeah, that feels deliberate. Yeah. because that's obvious from the trailer, like we said, like something is wrong, and you know,
especially since Olivia Wilde's character's named Bunny.
Oh Jesus, that's right.
Hello?
I didn't catch any of those references.
I just thought of Alice, but now that I look at it, you know, I thought she was Bonnie, but no, she's Bunny.
No, it's Bunny. Yeah, it's Bunny. We don't have a guy in a hat who's smoking, though.
No, that's true. We don't have anyone smoking, really, do we? Well,
no,
Alice
all of them
does.
are smoking.
That's true.
Yeah.
But not like that.
Yeah. Like... Damn, this is kind of hard to talk about without talking
about how about this? We'll do the technical stuff. Let's do, like, acting and shit. Because despite having a lot of, you know, normally pretty good actors in it, I felt like maybe 2 people were carrying this entire movie, and one was, unfortunately, barely in it, despite being portrayed as, like, the main villain.
You're thinking of Chris Pine?
Yes.
Yeah.
He had, like, 2 or 3 scenes where he was actually doing something.
Yeah, but his character looms over the entire movie.
Sure. But I'm saying, like, his
voice
acting,
on the radio and stuff. Yeah, sure.
He didn't get any space to act except for those 3 scenes. And 2 out of 3 were kind of extreme.
Yeah. And then I guess you're thinking the second one is Florence Pugh?
Yeah. I mean, she had the most to do, obviously, and she did do a good job.
She was good. She's always good.
Yeah.
A lot of people talked about what's his name? Harry something. Harry
Styles?
Harry Styles, thank you. I don't know these pop people. Harry Styles, and like how he's so terrible. And especially in this movie.
I'm not sure I agree on that.
No, I don't really agree. And it's not like he's amazing.
No, but he's not
good.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone said, I understand now why he had no lines in Dunkirk.
Yeah, like, because he's, like, I heard that too, like,
I think we'd read it on Letterboxd
knew how to use him. Yeah, and I don't really get it.
No, I mean...
He was fine.
I mean, when he freaked out and cried, it was pretty convincing.
Yeah.
Because he was freaking out and crying. I mean, it wasn't bad. He does an American accent at one point, and that wasn't the best. But
no, and it was super weird to all of a sudden hear him talk American.
Yeah, and that might be the reason.
They're strange, and I wonder if that was like a reshoot thing when they kind of explained why he has a British accent. It was just like, why would he have that? I'm thinking just like his American accent was so bad when they were shooting the scenes. So like, let's add in this scene where you explain your British accent.
Exactly.
Because I was just like, what the fuck? When they explained that. Yeah.
There's a lot of details that we're going to gloss over now because we will have to discuss them more clearly in this segment. But overall, I think, like, the actors were fine, I suppose. I mean, most of them didn't have a lot to do except for Harry Styles and Florence Pugh.
Yeah, really. It was a lot of window dressing.
Yeah.
And I was hoping to see more from the guy who played the doctor. What's his name?
Oh, Timothy Simmons.
Timothy Simmons, yeah, because he's like a good comedic actor. Him and Nick Kroll, I wish were in the movie more, because it's always fun to see comedic actors do something more dramatic. But
I mean, Nick Kroll had a little bit extra, I suppose.
Yeah, towards the end, but it was very little.
Yeah.
And then
definitely
of course,
not enough.
Yeah, Timothy Simmons was in like 2 or 3 scenes where he actually did something, and he didn't do a lot.
No.
No, yeah, sorry. All the big scenes were Florence Pugh and Harry Styles.
Yeah.
And
it was fine. Like, the acting wasn't phenomenal. I don't know if it has to do with... has Olivia Wilde directed a lot before? Was this her first?
No, this is her second movie. She made that movie Booksmart a couple of years ago, or 3 years ago. Which I thought was good, but it was the first movie where I officially said, like, I'm too old to watch, like, teenage movies.
Oh, yeah, it's that one.
I was like, I was like 29 years old, and I was just not vibing with that movie at all. Like,
I haven't
not
seen
that it was
though.
like bad or anything. It was fine, but it was just like, I don't care about these characters. I don't care about their dumbass problems. What the fuck is going on?
It doesn't resonate
Can
with
I
you,
turn it
so
off?
why would you care?
Yeah, exactly.
But she didn't act in that one, did she? No.
No, she's just directed.
Yeah, that might have helped, I suppose. Because I don't know if she's a great director. I don't know if I'm terrible at telling what is like the writing, what is the acting, and what is the directing sometimes.
Yes.
It's difficult
it is kind of
that.
The writing and the directing and some of the acting, it kind of becomes this homogenous thing.
Yes.
Especially when she's involved in the writing as well, and she has one of the.
She was involved in the writing.
I think she was. Didn't she have a writing credit?
She's not credited, not on IMDb at least.
Oh, okay.
Katie Silberman is screenplay, and then Carrie Van Dyke and Shane Van Dyke for story.
Oh, okay. Oh, maybe she like produced it or something. Sorry.
Yeah, she did produce it. I remember that from the opening credits.
Oh, okay. That was it.
Which, I mean, that means she can poke even more into it, so of course.
Yes, exactly.
This is the Olivia Wilde project, literally.
Yes. And,
but I don't know if that had too much of an input, or if it's like the general story that just isn't fantastic.
The general story isn't... I mean, the story is good.
Yeah.
The plot is very meandering.
Yes. And what actually happens is very repetitive.
Very repetitive. And when we get to the climax of the movie, it's a big... What?
Yeah.
That's it, basically. I literally face-palmed.
No, I saw that.
When the movie ended, yeah. I was like, oh, no. We'll talk about that a little later. Like, because we don't want to give away details about it.
I want to do one technical that I actually really enjoyed while hating it at the same time. The music.
Oh, I love the music.
Was fantastically annoying.
There was all these weird like sounds, a lot of like voices.
It added a lot to the mood, which I liked.
Yeah.
But it almost gave me a headake.
I wish
which might be the point, though.
Yeah. It made me think of what's her name? Micah Levi, I think her name is. She made the music for Under the Skin. All these weird strings and
right,
like,
yeah.
voices and stuff, yeah. So first I was like, oh shit, is this Micah Levi? But then it was some guy, I don't know who the guy was.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him. John Powell.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the name. But I really liked the music. I thought it was one of the better
I liked it, but I hated it at the same time because it was so, like, annoying, but it was obviously supposed to be annoying.
Yeah.
Like, I can't blame it.
And I also really enjoyed all the set design and the costumes.
Oh yeah, it made perfect sense. First of all, and it was well made.
Yeah, it made sense, but it was also very on the nose.
Well, yeah, but that's why it made sense.
Yeah, but it was too on the nose for me to make it a 50s setting. What am I?
Yeah, they could have gone a bit vaguer and maybe done like not as, because even like down to the design of the dresses, was very 50s. Like very even 50s. The underwear was 50s. I'm like, really? Is that really necessary?
But that was to not give anything away.
Sure.
Yeah. This is a big problem, and it's a big problem I have with the companion movie, which we can mention. Honestly, it's been 15 minutes. We usually do like 20 minutes. But fuck it, can we just get into spoilers?
Yeah, let's just do a quick like general. It was kind of a pretty movie. I liked the setting. I liked the visions of all of it.
Visuals.
Visuals. Sorry, yeah. Technically, it was pretty good. I mean, the acting was
pretty good.
Most of it pretty good. The music was good.
Yeah.
Visuals like that was good. I think I give it like a 2 out of 5.
Exactly. On a purely technical level, it's straight down the middle.
Yeah.
2.5 out of 5. It's just the story that just
Yes.
drags it down. So I cannot recommend this. It's a lot of like it's 2 hours of blue balls basically, and then there's a at the end. What? Basically.
Yeah.
So I can't.
It's a very
really
vague
recommend
review
it.
here, but it's hard to talk about this movie without spoiling it. So
Exactly. Because so much of the movie hinges on the big twist.
Yes.
And we can't give that away.
And even like talking about the details before the twist is still it's stuff you didn't see in the trailer, really.
Exactly.
So it's hard to talk about it without spoiling it.
Yeah, so from here on out, spoilers. Big spoilers for Don't Worry, Darling.
Yes.
But honestly, like, if you know anything about pop culture, you know what this movie is about.
Yeah.
Or at least, the concept. So,
yes.
but fair warning, from here on out, we'll discuss spoiler details, story details. 1, 2, 3, let's go. So, what's the first thing you want to talk about?
I mean, I gotta say, I did not... The actual ending twist thingy was not exactly what I had imagined. Because, like, we didn't say it straight out, but everyone knows it's sort of based on the Stepford Wives.
Yes, it's very much the Stepford Wives. It's just
Even
that they're
though
not robots. They are like they're like
AI, I suppose.
They're prisoners in a VR world.
VR, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And
which basically is the same, because they're programmed to have a certain personality, certain traits within this VR world.
In the Stepford Wives, they do like remove the original person and then just make a robot
they replace them. Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is just a modern twist.
Yeah, and it was so because big surprise. Even before we saw the movie, we knew there was like a Stepford Wives.
Oh
thing.
yeah, obviously.
So that's what we're gonna talk about in the companion piece.
Yes.
On Monday, and I gotta say, I saw the Stepford Wives for the first time.
The original
this week, yeah, the original. And I think the concept works better there, but I think it kind of they have the same problems.
I haven't finished.
There's a lot of build up to a pretty like lackluster ending.
I haven't finished the original because I realized I haven't actually seen that one. I've seen the 2004 version.
Yeah, I've heard it's more
which
comedic.
I don't remember too much about, to be honest. But seeing "Don't Worry, Darling," I'm recognizing details, which is funny. Because I thought they would like stray away from the details and just have the whole utopia replacing the wives kind of thing.
Yes,
but no, they actually took some details as well.
Yeah, so let's talk about the big problem, where the concept here is that you can live in this VR world, like you're completely immersed.
Yes,
it's like you're in a coma basically, and they're just beaming this world into your brain basically.
The unwilling participants are in a medically induced coma.
Yes, and then when people go off to work, that's when they exit the simulation, so they can actually work in the real world to pay to keep being part of this VR experience.
Pay for the membership basically, or the subscription.
Yeah, exactly.
It's World of Warcraft on drugs.
Yes, and that concept is super interesting since we are slowly but surely moving towards a completely like digital reality.
Oh yeah,
especially with all the shit that Meta, formerly Facebook, is trying to do.
We've mentioned that in an earlier episode when we talked about Ready Player One.
Yes,
where this whole we're basically living the main part of our lives online.
Yeah.
Especially with Meta,
online in front of screens and
stuff. Front of screens. Even now, when COVID hit, we started working from home. A lot of people, so we're not seeing our coworkers on any other way than on camera.
Yeah, and while some people are convinced that this is like that is the way of the future, it's where we're going towards this singularity where biology merges with technology, basically. I think most people don't see it that way, and a few people are kind of scared that, the repercussions are going to be more dire than we think.
Yes.
Which kind of goes hand in hand with the whole AI thing. So, of course, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this concept.
I'm kind of okay with it.
Which is just insane, because like they say in the movie, you're living a lie. It's not reality. And even if
there are
this
limits
whole thing,
to where VR and AI are fine.
And that's the thing. For me, that is the hardest part to wrap my head around. Like, I love VR. I think it's so fun to play video games in VR and do, like, the little, like adventure experience things, or like when you're flying around or you're under the sea. It's awesome because you can do things you can't really do. But it's still just
you can take off the headset and you go back to your normal life.
Yeah,
kind of easy,
Yeah, and even like, oh my god, like the real world sucks. There's war and famine.
People get sick and die and stuff. Yeah, sure.
They even talk about it in the movie. Like he says, like every day when I have to leave the simulation and go to work in the real world, I hate it, and I just want to come back as fast as possible. And
they touch on that though in that fight in the movie.
Yeah.
Where there's a distinct difference here. You have people who hate their life and hate their job, like Jack, who absolutely hates his life. He doesn't feel attractive, obviously, because he changes his appearance a lot when he's in the VR world. He hates his job, obviously. He feels like he can't really satisfy his wife. Are they married in real life? I'm not sure. His girlfriend, at least.
Yeah, they're couple.
His partner, whatever.
Yeah.
While she, in real life, was obviously kind of happy. She liked her job. She was proud of it. She was a doctor.
I don't know if she was a doctor, but she was like a...
No, they call her doctor in
Oh, they did?
One of the nurses, talked to her, doctor whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But, I mean, she's not a surgeon, perhaps.
No, exactly. She was.
But she's a doctor. She's
a doctor.
She sewed up 12 people that night, and she saved lives, and she was happy with that. So there's a distinct difference. Of course, if you don't like your life, the online escape seems very alluring. While if you're happy or content with your life in real life, at least,
sure, you'll
be like, yeah, whatever. Online is all fun and games, but it's not reality.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's the perfect allegory to drug abuse. Like you're taking a shortcut to happiness.
Yes.
And some people say but if it's not harming you, then is it really a bad thing or a shortcut? And I guess not, but there are the long-term repercussions we don't think of, which, they bring up very well, it's not exactly the same, but they bring up in WALL-E.
Oh, yeah.
Where 900 years of us, being, not in a VR, but, being, assisted by AI and not having to do things for ourselves and just getting everything served to us, not having to struggle for anything, has turned people into gelatinous blobs, basically.
Yeah. Because if we don't have to move to, drink even, we won't have a use for the bones in our bodies. So
yeah,
biology and what's it called? Not biology. Evolution would just get rid of it for us.
Exactly. Which is things we're even seeing nowadays. There are people who are born without this. There's this bone in your wrist.
Oh yeah.
Which you can see on some people. You can't really see it on mine, but you can feel it.
Is it?
Which is. It's this middle. It's like a tendon. It's not a bone. It's a tendon.
There's this thing in your wrist in the middle of it.
Yeah, which because we don't physically exert ourselves as much in day-to-day life, some people are being born without that now because they don't.
There's no use for it. Same with body hair in general.
Yes.
We don't really need body hair because we have clothes instead. We stay inside when it's cold, so body hair is disappearing. People are being born without, I mean, eyelashes is still a necessary thing, but armpit hair, you don't need that.
No,
there's no biological use for it anymore.
Yeah, and those are small things, but in the future, I think the repercussions are worse than people, think about. They don't think far enough ahead. And I think that's a very interesting conversation to have. The pros and cons of a simulated reality. And of course, you have movies like The Matrix, or where we are being abused in that simulated, or in the real reality. And the simulated reality is to keep us docile.
I mean, technically, Don't Worry Darling has that as well, because Florence Pugh's character, Alice, is forcefully put into this VR world.
Yes.
And programmed to not understand that that's what's happening.
Yes. And there we get to the problem with this movie, the crux of the movie, that it is not a movie about the conversation around simulated realities. It is a movie about the patriarchy, or men abusing women. Because
I mean, they touch on the whole VR shit, but
very
vaguely and very lightly.
Vaguely. Yeah. Instead, it's all about how, and that's a big problem because we don't get any details about it. We just know that there is this VR project, the Victory Project, which you can enter into, and you get to bring a partner. Willing or not, you get to bring a partner in, so you can live in this perfect reality with the person you love, the one for you. But they never go into how this because the few glimpses we see of the real world seem to be now. It doesn't seem to be a future or anything.
Not far in the future, at least.
No, exactly. Maybe a few years or something. So, and we see the little machines. It's basically just a thing you put over your eye, and it scans your eye, which is sending the signals into your brain.
Yeah.
And
there's no support system for your body to survive. He literally he puts her on a drip or whatever it's called. I think
she has IV, to get nourishment.
And he wets her lips with a rag just so they won't dry out, like you do with a coma person. He puts her literally in a coma.
Yeah,
and then he goes into care for her that way.
Yeah. So, which is, I guess that's actually pretty good allegory for where the simulated reality is actually hurting more than it's helping, because this person that he loves her more than anything in the world. He'll do anything to give her the perfect life, including kidnapping her, drugging her, inducing her into a coma, or putting her in an induced coma, on all against her will, and then making her live this fake life. It's not. That's not what she would have wanted.
No,
right?
Exactly. And also, I'm not entirely sure. As someone mentioned, because I had time to check out a couple of videos about it. Yeah. Someone mentioned that they had, obviously, because we know that Harry Styles' character Jack, he looks very different. He is very different in the two worlds. So they have the means to change a person's looks and behaviors and personality and stuff. So we don't know how much he changed about Alice to make her even more perfect for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we don't get enough details on her to see that. Yeah. Since in the real life, she's more or less always in the coma when we see her. We see a couple of short scenes.
That's the thing, it's not real.
No.
Yeah. But then, like we said, and I know, a lot of the problems here is something I usually mention as something we don't need. We don't need details to tell a good story. But the problem here is that we get no background on what this Victory Project is. It's all just a metaphor for the prison of homemaking, basically, the way men
control
imprison women in domesticity.
Which we talked about that briefly when we left the theater.
Yeah,
the whole being a housewife thing isn't really a prison. It depends, obviously.
Yes, and that's the thing. I want to touch more upon that.
As a woman, I would not really mind being a housewife. That sounds lovely as long as I still have like access to the internet and phones and friends and money to
and
like
why
spend.
wouldn't you have? That's so
exactly. Like, why wouldn't I have?
Such a weird thing to say.
No, but there are the other movies where that is not an option.
But they usually take
only
place
clean and cook.
Yeah, but that usually takes place in a time where those things don't exist.
So, or it's a dystopian, 50s.
Yeah, well,
I'm thinking of like The Handmaid's Tale or whatever. I haven't properly seen that, but yeah.
Oh God, yeah. I'm going to talk about whatever. Not
like in a normal, in this reality and where we are, I would not mind having someone go to work and pay for all my bills. Sure, I'll be home and clean. I don't care.
Yeah, and
I'll watch movies.
Yes, and that's the thing. Which is so funny, especially in the Stepford Wives, how that movie is just too, like, because it takes place in the 70s, that's, it's just after the whole flower power and, the rise of second wave feminism in the late 60s. So that movie is just two, like, emancipated women being just like, appalled by women actually enjoying domestic life. Which is like, yeah, you don't like it, but actually a lot of people or women find it fulfilling. Like, people are different.
As long as it's your own choice.
Exactly.
What does it matter?
Of course. It is I think it's a very narrow-minded viewpoint.
Yes.
But I get it.
I understand.
I understand also, because it is a very good metaphor for, like, women are basically just housekeepers.
Sure.
I get it. But it's also, you never...
you need to take into consideration what the individual actually wants and likes.
Yes.
Because not everyone likes going to a corporate job or working in a supermarket. I mean, there are men who doesn't like that. There are stay-at-home husbands and stuff that are totally content. Because, hey, someone else pays all my bills and give me pocket money, and I can just have fun. The only thing that, of course, is expected of me is that I have time to spare, so I'll keep up with the house.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I like I said, I understand that it's a good metaphor for the thing they're trying to tell, but it's also so funny that, like, especially in the Stepford Wives, where it's more about that. And it's just like, like, it's literally a horror movie. Like, oh my God, these women enjoy cleaning. Ah!
Even, like, I understand why they had to add the whole robot thing in the 2004 version to, like, we just want robots. We don't want wives.
Yeah, sure, yeah, and that aspect
that's
of it is
different.
Like,
thing.
yeah, like
replacing
oh my God,
people. That's weird.
Yes, exactly. Like, I don't actually want a human companion. I just want this, like, robot that will cook and clean for me, and then it's a pocket pussy that cleans the house, basically.
Yeah.
And that is more,
that's wrong.
Alarming. Yeah, and it's very sexist.
Oh, either way though, I mean, if they didn't replace the women and just copied them, I wouldn't really mind. As long as the women get to live and do whatever they want.
Exactly. He's just like, I'm divorcing you and I'm going to marry the robot you instead. What? Yeah, sorry.
That's weird, but sure, I'm not sure I want to be with you. That's what I prefer.
Exactly. Is that really a person you want to be with then?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you go be free, lady. I'll marry this robot instead. And he's just like, okay, do that then. I'll find someone who appreciates me instead.
Regarding that, to bring it back to Don't Worry, Darling.
Yes.
A detail in the relationship between Jack and Alice that I didn't really think about until someone mentioned it in a video. I don't remember who mentioned it. Sorry. Their sexual relationship is never him being satisfied. It's only her being satisfied.
Yeah.
That's which is see. Like, yeah, that's all we see. And I assume that's all it is, which I feel like it's him feeling guilty for what he's doing about imprisoning her.
Maybe, yeah.
So it's bringing back a little bit of that. He doesn't want to replace her. He wants her, obviously.
Yeah.
And he wants to make sure that she's happy.
Yeah.
But, to distract her from what's happening, I suppose he makes sure she's really happy.
Yeah.
Which, ultimately fails, unfortunately, but...
Yeah, but that's literally the title, like, don't worry, darling.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about these bigger things. Men take care of the world, well, you just take care of our homes. Yeah.
We should also mention, though, that there is one person in this simulation who is actually really happy about being here, despite being a woman and not being really in on it. I mean, she's in on it, she knows, but she doesn't get to leave. And that's Bunny. Because in this world, no, she gets to have her children.
Yeah, but she volunteered. She is like...
I thought they were both volunteered.
Jack.
Because her husband leaves. He knows about it. He goes to work.
Yeah, well, someone has to pay for it.
Yeah, but like he knows about it too, so he's happy about it too, I assume.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, so like they're both Jack.
There are consensual relationships in this simulation.
Yeah.
Which also then kind of ruins the metaphor that this is like it's a male movement where only men can join and they can bring their women into the thing, they can bring their holes into the simulation. But no, there are obviously women in there who know, like the wife of Chris Pine knows about it.
Yeah, and I mean, based on what happens in the end, she might be the mastermind.
Yeah, or at least
and he's just a face.
A partner in the project. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking that a lot of people outside of the production has like overplayed the whole housewife bit because of what we see in the trailer.
Yeah.
Once you see the movie, once you've seen the twist, I suppose, and all the details come out, I don't really feel that it is men control the world thing. I think it's just
But it is, though.
Parts of it, yes.
No, because the focus is so much on Florence Pugh and her being caught in this.
But as a writer and producer, would you really put in those two small details about two women being there consensually? Doesn't that ruin the whole effect then?
Yes, and that's what I mean. That's why it gets it muddies the metaphor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Sure. They want to tell this story about the
oppression,
structural sexism or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
A patriarchal society.
Yeah.
But then they sprinkle in little details which just adds to the general sci-fi narrative, and that kind of ruins it. But I mean, also taking this concept of a completely simulated world, where people don't even know they're in a simulation, and just making it about female
oppression,
subjugation, or whatever.
Oppression is a better word.
Oppression is a better word. Thank you. Oppression. Is very limiting because it's not just a problem for women. It is in this story, but in reality, it's not just a problem for women.
No.
And I wish they went more into that general problem of a simulated world, but they don't. They just use it to tell this woman's story.
Yeah.
And it's very limiting, and it makes details, like you said, there are women who are there willingly, who actually, wanted to be there.
Yes. They have the reasons, obviously.
Yeah, but it's not like, oh my god, I'm a prisoner here. No, she wants to stay because she can be there then with her children. Bunny lost her kids in the real world, so she went into the simulation so she could live with her fake kids.
Yeah. I'm reading a text from Screen Rant that describes the Victory Project, where they felt the need to have a title for one segment be How Victory Project Kills Men in Real Life Too. Pointing out that in the movie, someone does say that any man, using the word man, who dies in the virtual reality also dies in real life.
Yes.
But the distinction indicates that the same is not true for women. Although the movie does not confirm that.
Yes, and that was another thing I wanted to bring up. Another thing where the general concept gets lost in translation, because it's another detail. how can they die in the simulation?
It's usually the opposite.
Yes, exactly. Like in the Matrix. No,
If you
that's not true.
die-
'Cause in the Matrix, if you die in the Matrix, you die in real life.
Yeah, no, but like if it's usually when you read stuff like this, it's like if you die in real life, your mind will still be in the simulation. You'll get stuck. That's what I don't
what are you
remember
thinking
where
of
I've
then?
read that, but I remember it that way.
Because usually, if your brain dies, you're gone. Like
Yeah.
there's no synapses.
But how
firing
does
anymore.
it, like, if you die in a game, you should just be pushed out, though. You shouldn't die in real life.
So how does it make sense that if a man dies in the simulation, he dies in real life? But
It would just be like you die in a video game. Come on.
Exactly. It's literally, since they're in a simulation, it is literally simulated violence.
Yeah.
It's fake. So how do they die?
Just reboot your save file or something.
Yeah,
Like,
or,
even on a platform where you're online and you interact with other people online, like I was about to say Game of Thrones, that's not what I meant. World of Warcraft.
Yes.
You can still restart your own save file and catch up to people.
Yeah, and even if you play a game that has permadeath, where your character is gone when you die,
can start a new account.
Exactly. You are still alive because it's just a game.
Yeah.
It is just a simulation. How...
You can always start over.
Yeah, how can Alice, who is physically in a coma and also physically restrained in that bed that we see, she is tied up.
Yes.
So she won't, move around if she wakes up.
Yeah, or something happens, yeah.
How can she inflict real violence on Jack?
Who is literally... I mean, we don't know how the technology works, but I assume they're ones and zeros. They're binary. They can't be physical.
Who? What?
In the Victory Project, within the Victory Project, they're ones and zeros, right? Everyone in there is just ones and zeros.
No, it's a simulation.
Yeah, but
It's literally...
It's virtual.
No. Yes.
Yeah,
but it's all just information being...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Beamed
Ones and
into
zeros.
your brain. Yeah, but
it's
they
just technology.
Yes, in they're ones and zeros.
Yes.
They are not ones and zeros.
No, they're real in real life.
It's an illusion. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's what I mean. You can't kill
code that way.
No, especially not when it's just a simulation.
Yeah,
they are not in there.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's just ones and zeros beamed into your head.
Yeah.
So
how can they explain?
You can't die. Your physical self cannot die from pain or an accident
Injuries.
or whatever in the simulation. It's literally impossible.
That's why a movie like this, when you have such technology involved, you need to have a bit of technical explanation as well.
Exactly. They need to
at least touch on it somehow.
Exactly.
Show us.
They could have just removed that part, but
Yes.
not even talk about what does simulated violence do to your real self. Don't.
It doesn't matter.
Don't worry, darling.
Yeah.
That's not part of the story. Who cares?
It's literally one sentence that they have to remove.
Yeah, and then the scene where Chris Pine gets stabbed, because that adds nothing to the story.
Yeah, no, that's
all
just...
of a sudden, now I'm taking over. That doesn't add anything.
I mean, he can be stabbed, sure, because that would just indicate that he's out of the simulation. Sure, whatever. Now she can control it
add
within.
anything to the story.
No.
Because he could just go into the simulation again.
Yeah. Yeah, that ending.
That was
that part,
super annoying.
along with the fact that Alice makes it out, it just makes me horrified that they might be like, what if we do a sequel?
Oh, I hope not. Yes, and that's the other thing. The movie literally ends with her waking up from the simulation, and it's just a black screen, and you hear her
yeah, she's gasping for air as she wakes up.
Yeah.
First of all, how did she exit the coma?
The same way the men do.
No, but she's in a medically induced coma. He's in a, I guess, programmed coma?
No, they're both in the same kind of coma. It's when you log out.
Oh.
When you touch that window, you log out and you oh, your brain snaps back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity.
How did she not wake up properly, though, the first time she touched it? Do we have a explanation for that?
No, and I'm kind of fine with that, because that might be, like, sensory overload.
Yeah, okay,
and,
yeah, that's true.
They do have, like, countermeasures that we see, like, people drag away people when they start to think, get too close to reality. You have the guys in red suits.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I can overlook that because it's just a way for her to like almost touch reality, but then get dragged back into the simulation.
Yeah, sure.
It doesn't really make sense, but I'm fine with that.
But her waking up in the end, and we just hear her gasping for air.
Yeah, that's very annoying because, like, yeah, oh my god, she's free. Yeah, she is free from this this oppressive world. But the problem is that because they introduced this concept of a simulated reality, this ordered chaos, which is the YouTube video he's watching, or order and chaos or whatever. Which it just felt like that was like a Jordan Peterson peak. They were just like trying to make fun of him because it really felt like something like incels and terminally online people would like be interested in.
Also, I don't think it really makes sense what he uses for argument, because he says what's the enemy of what does he say? What's the enemy of progress? And it's chaos. But that doesn't make sense. It's in chaos you discover new things, right?
Yeah, to a certain extent. I understand what he's saying, but yeah, you're also right. Like, there's a lot of things happening in chaos. You just need to focus in on the things that are actually progressing. Yeah. I don't know, yeah. It's,
progress isn't really hindered by chaos, but you might not get the progress you want from chaos.
Exactly. Yeah, and once again, it's the whole thing. You want to control. They talk a lot about control. Control is beauty. They mention early in the movie when they're all in the dance studio. Yeah, which is also like very early. Like, yeah, okay, we get it. They're slaves. Something. Yes. It's some sort of it's some sort of Matrix thing, or they're being replaced, or something. It's the Stepford Wives. We get it. Control is beauty. Move in a controlled pattern.
Yeah, they wanted symmetry or something.
Yeah. Symmetry is beauty. It's like, okay, here's the brainwashing.
Yeah.
And the fact that every wife joins the dance class, and that it's Chris Pine who is the leader. His wife leads the dance class. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh my god. And that's like 5 minutes into the movie. But yeah, like, when the movie ends with her going, and she's free. Yes, she's free, and the metaphor about female oppression and the patriarchy and a patriarchal society and all that. Yes, that's a good conclusion to that. But like we mentioned, the concept got much bigger when they introduced the concept of a simulated reality, especially one where you're for some reason allowed to like kidnap people into it. Like,
yes.
What are the legal ramifications? How do they get away with it?
There's so much that you have to think about when you come back into reality after being gone for how long? We don't know how long she's been in that simulation.
Why haven't Alice's parents like try to call her or then call the police? Like, our daughter is missing.
Her job? She's a doctor, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
When she doesn't show up for surgery, what do they do? Did he call them and say, no, she quit?
Yeah, or just her friends, or someone asking Jack, like, so where's Alice? And he's like, oh, we broke up, I suppose.
Did he fake her death or something? And if that happens, how do you come back into a society in real life? If you've been gone, say she's been gone for 5 years. We don't know, really.
Yeah.
And what happens then? How is her body not deteriorated too much for her to be able to walk, even?
Yeah, if they talk about... That's also something they kind of, like... They kind of explain that away, because they do say that it's only been like 900 days or something like that. So it's been about 950 days. So it's been like almost 3 years, which So that would still have a great impact on your body, but, it wouldn't be... You would be able to... Well, maybe you wouldn't actually be able to...
No, your legs... Like, if you get put in a wheelchair for too long, your legs get really weak.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, 3 years is a long time, actually.
That is a really long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, the husbands get up and walk every day, sure. So their muscles are fine. They just sleep in this virtual reality. Yeah. But she's been there constantly for about 3 years.
And that's also something, just thinking about it now, since, they basically enter this dream world. No, actually, no. I'll take that back, because I was gonna say, when they wake up in reality, they go to work, and then they work all day, and then they go home just to sleep, basically. But in their sleep, they are their brains are working as if they're awake, so they never get any sleep. But that's not true, because they do sleep in the simulation.
Virtual, in the simulation as well. They just have,
it's just work hours that they're not in there.
Yes.
So, okay,
it's the
fine.
Coming home, having dinner, having breakfast, weekends with your wife.
True. Yeah. But that also means that they pay a lot of money to just sleep in a simulation.
Yeah, because you do sleep about 6 or 7 hours still per day.
Most people probably sleep 8.
Yeah, and if you work 8 hours as well.
Yeah.
There's not too many hours left.
No, that means that you have 6 hours every day to actually enjoy the simulation properly.
Yeah. And then maybe weekends, I don't know.
Oh, weekends, of course, yeah. And then
sure,
also,
they do throw some spectacular parties in the simulation every now and then.
Yeah, sure.
That scene was so weird.
Yeah. And then also, I get why they chose the 50s, because it's easier to do the whole, housewife thing in the 50s. But if I was paying, from what I understand, or maybe it's implied that it's very expensive. He talks about, I'm doing all this for you, I work all day to pay for this and all that. Sure, I like the 50s aesthetic. I love it, it's cool, and I like all the music and stuff, but I would rather live in some sort of like fantasy world. I would live on like an airship and be a fucking sky pirate or something, Not like sitting in a house and smoke.
If you can choose a game to walk into, you're not gonna choose the basic Sims 4.
Exactly.
You're gonna choose the one with all the expansions, at least.
Yeah. Which, I know that was actually, just to quickly talk about it, that was something that people complained about with Inception. That, they're creating these dream worlds, but they're kind of just like the real world. There's never any, pink elephants or spaceships or,
Isn't that because they're kind of using them to fool people, though? So it has to be based in reality?
Yes, most of it is. They create these dream worlds to kind of resemble the real world.
Yeah, because they want to trick people into knowing that thinking that they're not asleep.
Yeah. But they're not having fun with the concept in the movie.
Well, no.
But I also understand that, because Christopher Nolan is not a fun guy.
No. And that wasn't the point of the movie.
Yeah, I know.
In this one, however, the point of again, I suppose, the point of the movie is to keep the wives thinking that this is their life. I guess since they're programming them, though, they could just program into thinking that, elves and dragons are real.
Yeah, but that would throw it off for the audience.
Yes, that would throw it off for us.
So I
sure.
But just like the control is beauty, the whole 50s aesthetic makes it a little on the nose. It's a little too obvious.
Yes.
You took the decade where the housewife really was a thing. Where it became the world of the housewife with the new microwave ovens and, ready meals and stuff.
Yeah.
It was the world was being convenienced for a homemaking life. I get it. But it's a little obvious.
I want to talk, I'm gonna change subject a little bit here, because I want to ask you, because I didn't understand this at all. What the heck was on with the eggs being empty? Was that a glitch?
I think that was a glitch, because the eggs aren't real. So
right.
they fucked up the code, so the eggs didn't have anything in them. They were empty because they forgot to program egg white and egg yolk, basically.
And they just happened to do that for Alice that day.
It was a glitch.
It was a glitch. Cool. Yeah, okay, that explains it, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, everything she sees, all her hallucinations are more or less her conscious just registering the hypnosis thingy in the bedroom, I suppose, in real life with the whole dancing ladies. But like the red plane, what the fuck was that? How do both she and Margaret experience that? Is that them hearing airplanes in real life or something, and that coming?
I don't know exactly what that is. Why they both saw a red plane. Once again, the metaphor being a little muddled, because what does the red plane actually mean in the code? I don't know. I don't know.
It's like you know, in you're supposed to follow the arrows, but that wasn't an arrow, that was a plane. Like, yeah. And you know, and that's where the director needs to come in and like, how about we change it to something that makes more sense? But they didn't. Because at first, when you see that Margaret and her son are going out and her son has a red plane, I just thought it was something like, oh, they saw a red plane and the kid went, oh, that's my plane, let's go see what happened to it. But no.
But then it didn't correspond to her seeing a red plane. It was just coincidence. And I mean,
again, it doesn't really make sense that they would actually go out there just to look at a plane that looks like his toy. There's got to be more to it, but we don't really get to know what that thing is.
Yeah.
And same with Jack's dance at that party where he gets the ring and the partnership thing. What the fuck? Why?
That's also...
It's like he's being controlled to dance like that, obviously. He doesn't look like he's doing it because he's happy.
No, it's weird. It's also, it's kind of this, you know, dance, monkey dance kind of thing. But yeah, once again, it was poorly implemented into the movie.
It just feels very... It's like what's it called? A thorn in your eye or whatever?
Thorn in your side?
Yeah, it just sticks out a lot.
Yes.
Like all of a sudden you have this weird it dance going on, and he looks like he's having so much pain doing it.
Yeah.
It's just why? While Alice is crying about feeling like something's wrong.
Yeah, that was a very weird scene to see him dance, and she's crying over there, and Bunny is trying to console her, and it was like, what is going on?
Whose world? Our world. Shut up, dude. What the hell?
Yeah.
There were a couple of those, just like, you can more or less explain them all with like, oh, it's a glitch in the Matrix. But, what the fuck? Like the glass crushing her. What the hell? Yeah. Why would you even have code that can be that? That's just dumb.
Yeah, but that's because they couldn't show us actual, like, digital glitches, because that would give it away too much.
Honestly, I don't think it would. It would be kind of fun if, like, you see a glitch and she sees something else through the window instead. She sees reality through the window or something.
Yeah, it could have been like, I don't know if you remember this because it's kind of old now, but the first, not the first the first trailer as well, but the first time in like E3 2006 when they showed the gameplay for the first Assassin's Creed.
Ah, yes.
And all you knew about the game was that you're playing a assassin from the 1100s, you know, the old classic assassins.
Yeah, you play Altair.
Yeah, you're Altair. And your quest is to kill these 11, like,
Crusaders or whatever?
Yeah, exactly. Crusaders, yeah. But then as they're playing the game, there's, like, glitching, and the lock-on system is all, like, ones and zeros, and they're not explaining that at all. So you're like, why are there like these? And it's not like a bug in the game. It's obviously a design choice. Like, why would you put that in a medieval game? It was just like, it created this mystery. Like, what the fuck is going on? And then then it kind of got spoiled in the trailers. But they, you know, they kept it kind of on the wraps.
Yeah, but so when you played it,
when you play the game, the first levels is just like, it's like the game is broken because no one has faces and you can't really see where you're going. And then Desmond wakes up, and they take control away from you, and it becomes this video where you can just change the angles.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit, the medieval stuff is just a simulation. That was amazing.
Yes, and that's what they could have done with this.
Yes, exactly.
Sort of.
Could have made it a mystery, like, why is she seeing these weird glitches?
Yeah, instead of just having her have, like, visions and nightmares, have it physically appear for her.
Especially, she had nightmares about, like, pinup girls dancing, just to add to the 50s thing. Like, why didn't she see, like, other things? Yeah. They could have done it... They could have done it so much more clever.
Yeah. Because the only explanation for these pinup girls were like, yeah, they're part of the hypnosation program. What's it called? Hypnosis program.
Hypnotizing program.
Yeah.
Hypnosis. Yeah, just... like they instead of going for the clever, they went for the obvious.
Yeah.
The obvious and like dumb.
Yes.
Like, oh, she can get squashed.
Like, one time they actually kind of used that.
Literally, her house is crushing her. Like, her domestic life is crushing her. Like, okay.
Yeah, and they're playing it off as a psychosis, which sure kind of works because no one else sees it. It's just her. And
it's also the classic. It's like, oh, a hysterical woman. Let's give her some pills and she'll be fine. Like,
they even mention don't go hysterical.
Yes, don't be hysterical, honey. Yeah, and yeah, that adds to the whole 50s aesthetic, the whole, female oppression thing.
But at the same time...
you're not telling like, the concept, you're not telling a story just of female oppression. You're telling... You're maybe they didn't think they were, but inadvertently they're telling a much bigger story than female emancipation. Yeah. I'm sorry, they just are. They are.
They've added enough of the small technological details to ruin the whole female oppression being the main issue or the only issue.
Yes, and that's the problem.
They should have added more of the technology stuff to make it more relevant and, honestly, more original. Because as it is, it felt very Stepford Wives.
Yes.
Even though it was technically another thing, or robots, and it wasn't just,
But it's the same.
It's the same. it's just the same shit with a new shell on it.
Yeah, it's just virtual reality instead of robots. Because
that's what
were
the
big
issue
thing
now.
In the 70s. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're just following trends. They could have gone so much further with it and still had the 50s if they wanted to.
Yes.
Technically.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean,
there was a lot of like complaining and talking about the tech stuff behind it all, but that's what ruins the movie.
Because that is the big problem with the movie. The fact that they have this big science fiction concept that they don't do anything with.
Yeah.
They just want to tell the story, of, women being oppressed. But then it should have been something like The Handmaid's Tale or whatever it's called. It should have been more... It should have actually been about that. It shouldn't have been about a virtual reality where you're a prisoner.
Yeah. Because, I mean, Alice still has her own free will, so to speak, because whenever anyone mentions, like, oh, aren't you guys going to have children soon? She's like, nah, I'm kind of good. I don't want that. We're really not there yet.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want to have children. She's a doctor. She's focused on her job at the moment. In real life.
Yeah, and I don't understand why that is part of the story. What does that add to the story? It's
because
it's not like you can't have children in the simulation. No. There are pregnant women in the simulation. There are children in the simulation.
The pregnant lady is constantly pregnant.
Yeah, but the movie does not take place over that long a time.
No, but they do mention she is constantly pregnant.
Sure.
When she comes back from her electroshock therapy, Bunny goes, the lady she's constantly pregnant. Your neighbor. It's a programmed thing that the husband likes it when she's pregnant, which either is a fetish or a control thing.
Yeah, I guess.
Which I guess also is a fetish in a way. But then again, why couldn't Jack just program in and pay extra for her to become pregnant?
Yeah.
Is that not something they can't? Again, technical stuff here. Is that something they can't do? Why is that put in here?
Yes.
Why? Why mention stuff like that and not, explore it properly?
Yeah.
Annoying is what this movie is, to be honest. I did like it. It was entertaining, sure. But when you start
too long.
thinking about it too, it was a bit too long. And when you start thinking about it, you just get annoyed with all these weird details and stupid points they're trying to make without actually properly making them, because they break their own points by adding other things.
Yes. So, if you really want to enjoy this movie, just don't worry, darling.
Yeah, I suppose.
And we're not alone in hating this movie.
No.
It's gotten pretty bad, not terrible reviews, but pretty middling reviews. On Metacritic, it has a Metascore of 47, which is slightly below average, which is not great.
On Letterboxd, it's a 3.2 on average, which
that's better.
It's still middle road kind of thing.
Yeah. But it has a few good reviews. I read one here from the Telegraph, Robbie Collin, he's a good film critic, but I don't always agree with him. But he writes, things keep barreling along thanks to both Pew and the plot's punchy critique of certain recent trends in the internet's more testosterone-rattled dark corners. Once again, the whole thing about incels wanting their trad wives and whatever. But the critique is too general for anyone to for any normies to get that, and I don't think the people who would understand that connection are going to watch a movie like this. So it gets lost, like everything else. It gets lost in the translation. It's muddled, but whatever. With a smudgy red lipstick grin, Don't Worry, Darling drags them out into the blazing desert light. Ooh, so flowery. I don't agree. I understand what he's saying, but I don't agree. The best review it got was from something called Consequence. Never heard of it before. Liz Shannon Miller gave it a 91 out of 100 and said, while Don't Worry, Darling isn't perfect, it's pretty damn close with a 91, I suppose, the only baggage it deserves to be settled with is the baggage of attempting to tell a story with an obvious twist in our twist-numbed culture. Exactly, because everyone knew there was a twist.
And everyone sort of knew what the twist was. Sort of, at least.
Yeah, and then they just had to, which I don't agree with, but whatever. For in the end, the real twist is this. Even in 2022, true equality between men and women still feels like a fairy tale. This is like...
What? Oh, come on.
There's no such thing as true equality.
No.
There's never gonna be. There's always gonna be... Women are better at some things, men are better at other things. Even if we get to an egalitarian society... It's not
Some of it's still biological, though.
Exactly. I'm sorry. We can't have babies, but we're stronger than you. I'm sorry.
For the most part, yes.
For the most part, yes, of course. But I guess I should also mention men can have babies. I'm not trying to offend anyone. Sorry.
But we know what you mean.
I know.
There's still certain biological aspects that go into having a child and birthing a child, even though you can change your biological aspects to a certain degree.
Yeah. Guess what? I don't give a fuck.
No, you do you, honey.
Yeah, exactly. But then we have some more middling reviews. A lot of 6 out of 10s, which I can see. Here's another one. Empire, Helen O'Hara. She's really good. And she points out that, she gave it a 6 out of 10. Pew is superb. I don't know. She's good.
No, she's great.
While Wilde, that was annoying. While Wilde confidently steps up to a bigger subject and budget to deliver a slick, beautiful film. And that, like we said, that's true. It looks great.
It looks great.
Yeah. It doesn't quite stick the landing, but its flight to that point is fascinating. That's what I mean. But that's true. It is, and that's something we didn't really, we sort of mentioned it, but we didn't mention what's good about it, that this is actually it's an original script, even though it borrows a lot of, its concept, but it's technically an original
it is
script.
Original, yeah.
Yeah. And a fairly high budget from a big studio. It's Warner Brothers.
Yeah, that's true.
That is being given a lot of PR. Like, we've seen trailers for months.
Oh, yes.
And there's articles, and interviews and stuff. And like we said, we mentioned that it looks good and everything, but we didn't mention that that's kind of rare nowadays.
Yeah.
So kudos to Warner Brothers for actually giving a fuck about the movie.
And if
Too
you want
bad
to
the
add
movie
a,
wasn't better.
if you want to add a plus to that, they put their faith in a woman director.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, is still kind of rare. It's not rare, but it's kind of rare.
Yeah,
It's
on this like high AAA level, yes, it is kind of rare. Yeah, so kudos for all that. But like I said, too bad the movie wasn't good.
fantastic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and here's someone who mentioned, like, which we didn't go into at all, but Kevin Fox Jr. wrote for Paste, for all the hubbub and controversy in the last few weeks leading up to the release, it's an, at best, entirely ordinary movie carried almost entirely by Florence Pugh's performance.
Yeah, but that is basically what it is.
And I wonder, sure, there was a lot of backstage drama about certain actors being removed and other actors
or
taking
not.
over and all that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, or not.
Who the fuck knows?
I wonder how much of that was then leaked to be some sort of like,
PR?
Fake like reality PR thing. I don't know.
I mean, considering
But they kind of used the drama to, bump up the movie's
No,
interest.
I feel like that's like. I mean, perhaps it wasn't planned, but once stuff started leaking, they're like, you know what? Let's run with it.
Yeah, because that's the only thing. That's where I like found out that there was drama behind the scenes. That was the only thing I saw. That there was this like video message that Olivia Wilde had filmed in her car, and it wasn't like a TikTok or YouTube or Twitter or Instagram.
No.
It was a private video which she sent as an MMS, a picture message,
a video message.
Yeah.
To
who the fuck? To one of the actors. I don't know who.
To Shia LaBeouf, apparently.
No, they were talking about Shia, but it was sent to one of the female actors.
Well, maybe, but she sent one to Shia LaBeouf as well, because he had Harry Styles' role first, but...
Yes, I know that. Yeah.
There are two different stories. He either got fired or he quit.
Because
I don't know which one's true.
All the stuff going on.
Yeah, there were different
FK,
opinions,
and,
whatever,
Yeah, but what I mean is, like, who leaked that private message?
Exactly. And first of all, why would you make it a video or even a soundbite? Why not just, why is that recorded?
Yeah. So
why would you, even if it was a phone call, why would you record it if not to release it?
Yeah. So this is us just wildly speculating, of course.
Yes.
But it is very convenient that this kind of ho-hum movie gets super acknowledged in the press, but mainly then because of backstage drama.
I'm gonna draw on what's it called? A liknelse? Comparison or whatever.
Yeah, a comparison. Yeah.
To a thing I just learned today about a book and social media. There's this book called Lightlark that was released, I think, earlier this year or something.
It sounds vaguely familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. It got so hyped up on TikTok and shit before it actually released because of what the writer did on TikTok.
Oh.
She made videos talking about the tropes and certain lines in the book and like hyped it up with that, making it sound so fantastic. But then when you actually read the book, some of it's not even in it.
Yeah.
This is what this feels like. They're just
and the book, I'm guessing the book kind of sucked.
It was middling. It was that good, but people expected certain things because
and everyone bought it. Yeah, everyone bought it because of the drama. Yeah,
and you heard that it was gonna be fantastic, and it had all of these tropes that everyone loves. But then you don't have like certain lines that she actually wrote out in her TikToks didn't exist. It's like even if they were edited out,
why then?
Why would you? Yeah. Hello?
Yeah.
This is what this feels like. They're just like... Because I wanted to see it before I saw any of the drama. Before I heard any of the drama regarding Don't Worry, Darling. I saw the trailer and went,
same here.
See that.
Yeah. Interesting concept. I want to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. But then it got hyped up because perhaps they realized that the movie wasn't that good. And they were like, you know what? Let's use the drama. Let's hype up the drama. Or amp it up, I suppose.
Yeah. And we've seen this before. The best example, which is, I mean, that's basically proven at this point, is the let's see if you even remember this movie, the 2016 Ghostbusters movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the all-female one?
Yes.
Where, you know, there were so many, like, articles and Twitter mobs about, like, men hate this movie. Like, we gotta support women and go watch this movie. And, you know, they were talking about, like, it's the most downvoted trailer of all time, which it was at that point. It was the most downvoted video on YouTube or movie trailer.
At the moment.
At the moment, yeah. Well, something else got it later. I think it was a Call of Duty game. Got even worse, like the year after. But still, and they said like, it was so many like hate-filled comment from basement-dwelling Nazi incels.
Oh, jeez.
That was what they were going with, calling them like trash people and whatever. These men who just hate women for trying to take their precious Ghostbusters away from them. And then Red Letter Media, the fucking heroes that they are, literally did a scientific study on it where they took like a sample of 1,000 comments on that first trailer, which there were like hundreds of thousands of comments. There was like 60 million views. And out of that, there was like a few 100,000 comments, which means that only a few % actually cared to comment, you know, which is always the way. So they took a sample then of 1,000 comments, and did a search for words like feminism, like women, or like I don't know,
female empowerment or something.
Yeah, or like bitch or whatever, like weird words like that. Yeah, and it turns out that like 0.001% of the comments actually mentioned feminism and women or, you know, stuff like that. The rest were just like, it looks bad. Like, another Ghostbusters, or like, the CGI is bad. And they even had some of the more funnier ones, like, you know, misspelled stuff and like on the screen.
Sure, yeah.
So like, this hatred against the movie because it was an all-female, this female-forward feminist movie, it was just pumped up.
Yes. Of course it existed.
Of course it existed, but it was not a minuscule percent.
Yeah, it was so far from being the majority.
Yeah, the rest were just regular people who recognize that it's a shitty movie.
It's a shitty remake.
It's a shitty remake of a beloved movie. Yeah. So, kudos for you for making a all-female movie. Too bad it sucked.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing great for you, Warner Brothers and Olivia Wilde, for getting this movie made on the budget you had. Too bad it sucked.
Yeah. Like, nothing against you or the power behind whatever this was,
sure.
But
great.
The movie wasn't good. I'm sorry.
But you should have made a better movie. It's like, just to bring up another example, because it's so perfect, and I've brought it up before. It's when Mark Kermode, who is very progressive, very, you know, he's not an outspoken feminist, but he's obviously, you know, for all that.
Yeah.
And when he reviewed the Eternals, the Marvel movie, you know, the one that everyone was like forgotten because it was so bad.
Yes, because it was so bad I couldn't even finish it.
Yeah. And he mentions in his review, it was so funny, he's like, I just love the fact that they have, you know, the first superhero with a, you know, an impairment, because they have the deaf superhero.
Yeah.
And you have so many people of color having prominent roles and being superheroes and role models in the movie. And, you know, we have a mostly female cast and a fresh-faced female director and writer of the movie, whatever her name is, I don't remember.
Yeah.
The girl who made Nomadland. The woman who made
that
Nomadland.
one.
So. Yeah. And all of that is so good, and he was so happy with all that. And then he's just like, almost like in tears, like, unfortunately, the movie is terrible. And he's like, so I can't really recommend it. I really wanted to love it, but it's a terrible movie.
Yeah, despite being like one of the few.
To hear him say that.
Despite being like one of the few productions in recent years that have been able to, without having to point it out and make a thing out of it, have such a diverse cast and like everything's so open and diverse, and it feels natural and normal.
Yeah.
They still failed because the movie in itself is not good.
Exactly. It checked all the boxes, but they forgot to make a good movie.
Without being virtue signaling.
Sure.
Is a plus. If you can do it naturally and organically.
Exactly.
it's even better.
That's also a plus, yeah.
But no, you still failed because the movie sucks. Yeah. Anyway. Which is, again, this is what this Don't Worry Darling is. It's a fantastically organically progressive, I suppose, movie that talks about a subject that is valid, but they muddle it and they ruin the movie in general, and the movie's just in general kind of boring.
Yeah.
You had something great and you ruined it by just not making it great.
Yeah, like I said, great work and everything. Yeah, too bad the movie sucked.
Yeah.
And
on that note,
we're gonna wrap it up there.
Like we said, though, we'll try and maybe look into the drama a bit more for the Patreon episode because that could still be
interesting and perhaps could be juicy.
It could color our opinion. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe. I don't know.
We'll see. But also, we'll talk about the Stepford Wives. The original and, I suppose, the 2004 version.
Yeah, I haven't seen the 2004 yet. Yeah, of course. We'll compare.
We have time.
We have time. We have a few days to record that. So yeah, check that out on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. We have also hours and hours of previous episodes. There's also some exclusive videos. And
commentary tracks.
Access to some stuff. Commentary tracks. Yeah, a bunch of stuff. So check that out. But other than that, if you just want to listen to the free episode, thank you so much for supporting us here on whatever platform you're listening to this.
Check out the socials, obviously.
Yeah. Check the socials. There are links down below. There's a link tree and all that. And we will see you in the next episode. Do we know what we're talking about in the next one?
We probably do, but I don't remember at the moment.
Okay. So we'll see you in the next episode.
Yes.
But until then, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. The Spoiler Cast is part of Please Don't Make a Scene. It is hosted by Tobias Vedén and Rebecca Vedén. Produced and directed by Tobias Vedén. Executive producer is Annika Vedén and Laura Kinney. Also a huge shout out to all our patrons. Laura Kinney, Mom, Dad, Mom and Mac. If you want to join our Patreon, check us out on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. Get exclusive episodes, commentary tracks, and much, much more. Support independent podcasting.